Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is the Ringer Sunday pregame, getting you ready for yet another Sunday of NFL action. A whole lot of winners, hopefully, coming your way right here on YouTube TV, of course, on FanDuel TV. I'm John Jastremski. Let's welcome in the quartet, the wise guys, Cousin Sal, Joe House, Raheem Palmer. We are ready to rock. We have all the Week 9 plays coming your way. Cousin Sal, red hot with the wisest wager. Cousin Sal, I think you are going to like my wisest wager. And as you could tell, Sal, I have already turned the page from the devastation of Yankee elimination. I'm rocking my alma mater proudly, and I need to get off the schneid here with the wisest wager. So you want to send some sage or some good vibes feel my way? I could use it.
You know, I was looking at you, and I'm always happy to see you guys, and JJ, you as well. And then I got a little sad. I saw the Syracuse to pull over. I'm like, oh, it's November 3rd. He's given up on, well, the Yankees either way would have been done by now. But the Dolphins, too. I didn't have you pegged for Syracuse gear until over-under was November 24th and a half. But JJ, let's do this. Wisest wager. I'm 6-2. As you said, I am taking a total. I know you don't like this. You think this is a coward's way out. Raiders, Bengals, over 45.5. The over is hit in each of the last 6 Bengals games against bottom 10 defense. And by the way, I checked. The Raiders are 27th out of 32. I keep waiting to see a lights-out performance out of the Bengals defense and Lou Anarumo. It's not happening. I'm being waiting as I wave money in his face. They're 24th overall.
Why, you're spoiling your wise wager already?
Isn't this
I didn't
it?
even get to the guys, and you're just ready to jump out of the gate.
Forget it. Forget it.
I didn't even get to the card. I didn't even get to what's coming up on the show. I am this hot. Yeah. I am feeling this good.
Go ahead.
The hell with the rundown. I'm just getting right to it. We'll circle back on this, Sal. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off on this.
Give me some wise. I need some sage advice for the wise wagers, and then I give my wise wager, and now you're yelling at me? Go ahead. Run down the show.
I thought you were going to tease it. I thought you were going to kind of appetize the audience.
It's fine. I'm
sorry.
No,
you said I'm going to get right into it.
Let's start over. Let's start the whole thing over.
That's it. We'll start the entire show over. House, this is a week that's begging to be teased. There are so many games that kind of fit the description of I can't wait to tease this, and that kind of has me feeling queasy about the Week 9 board. You see where I'm going here?
Well, the hard thing with the teasers this week, and there are about 8 great legs, is the fact that teasers have been so bad all season long. But if you try and talk yourself into it, you say, well, wait a minute, teasers have been bad all season long. This is the week. Let's go cash. You could take the Ravens down, take the Chiefs down, push the Browns up, bring the Saints down, bring the Eagles. There's so many ways to do it. Of course, in the wisest wagers, I just stayed as far away as possible. But I did bet them. They're on my card. There are teasers on my card this week, JJ.
Oh, of course there are, Joe House. Now, Raheem, with so many bad teams this year, and there are a lot of bad teams, you know, there are so many of these games that, like, I'm going through my card, I'm trying to figure out what's what, and I'm like, don't want to bet this, don't want to get involved with that. A lot of these matchups, some of these teams, Raheem, I can't quit them, and yet here we are. I'm going to end up taking them again.
There's a lot of these teams that I can quit. I'm not betting on the Carolina Panthers for the rest of the year. Obviously, your wisest wager involves one of my teams who personally I quit because I think they stink, and they're going to stink as long as Jerry Jones is the owner, just to tease it. But for me, I'm going with a total, so I'm not messing around with too many of these sides.
We got a lot of cowards on this show. You know, I thought you guys were brave souls. I thought you guys were showmen. I thought you guys were masters of the wise wager. At least one of our guys is. And now I'm the only guy picking a side. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We have so much coming your way on the Week 9 edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. We got guest picks. Sheil Kapadia is going to join us. Danny Heifetz is going to join us. Harry, you never know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to join us. We got Dog of the Week. We got Rat Lines. But we jumped the gun. I promise we're going to give our guy his time to shine. Let's wisen up for Week 9. All right, Sal, take 2. By the way, you can flaunt the record. You can pimp the record. You can Do whatever you'd like and explain why you're going with a total, because I rudely cut you off about 2 minutes ago.
No. I should know the layout of the show. My apologies all around. And you could call me cowardly, but this cowardly lion is wearing gold chains and diamond necklaces and everything else, because I'm going for win 7 of the year. Raiders, Bengals, over 45.5. Overs hit in each of the last 6 Bengals games against a bottom 10 defense. I won't say it to Max Crosby's face, but that's what we're looking at here. Lou Anarumo's defense has not been good, 24th in the league. Burrow's numbers are better at home, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Big day out of Chase. Big day out of Jacoby Myers, maybe in a garbage time effort right there. I go 28-23 final. Cincinnati Bearcats win. And I'm going to make it 7-2 with my wise wagers. Come on, guys. Catch up here. Let's do it. Over.
We're trying, Sal. Doesn't this game have rat line potential? I know we're kind of going out of order here, but nobody has this featured as a rat line. Doesn't the Bengals only laying 6.5, 7 against this crummy Raider team, Sal, fit that description to a T?
Yeah, it does. But I think until they right the ship, until they beat these bad teams by 20, 25 points, until their offense puts up between 28 and 35 and their defense stands, I think it kind of got to be this way for them.
Fair enough. Okay, we go from one total to another total. Joe House, you wanted to get in the totals market for this particular week. What would it be?
Yeah, I am like Cousin Sal. I resent being called a coward. I went against my Washington team last week with the Bears, and it took a historically significant Hail Mary, a season and franchise-altering play to be on the wrong side of that. That's fine. And by the way, we have history staring us in the face, fellas. We are looking at this Carolina Panthers team, who is one of the historically worst teams that has attempted to put a team on the field in the last 50 years. And we aren't cashing in. How do we all not have plays against the Panthers every single week? I'm doing something simple. We're taking the New Orleans Saints to score over 13.5 points in the first half of this game against the Saints. Against the Panthers. The easy thing here is Derek Carr is back. He's got Chris Olave. He's still got Alvin Kamara. The Saints are trying to win football games. Dennis Allen.
That's it. House, you're getting cut off. That's it. Listen, I follow the rules of the show. The lay of the land. You have been cut off, but you have given your logic for team total over 13.5. We'll circle back on this in a second. Raheem, we're getting to you. Wise wager, what would it be?
Okay, I'm 5-3 right now. We've won 4 out of the last 5 wisest wagers, and we're going to stick to the greatest hits. We're going to go with the Ravens Broncos over 46.5. You guys know I had the Ravens over last week. That hit despite these teams going 3-6 in the red zone and Justin Tucker missing a field goal. The Ravens are 7-1 to the over this year. They're averaging 30.5 points per game, first in offensive EPA for play, and this is a big step up in class for this Broncos defense, which has played the Carolina Panthers, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Jets with Justin Fields. Now you got to play this Baltimore offense with all of these weapons, Lamar Jackson, and then on the other side of the field, the Baltimore Ravens, they can't stop anybody. So Bo Nix, he should be able to get off here, and this game has real garbage time potential with Bo Nix chasing points. Let's go over 46.5.
Zero confidence in the Baltimore defense. I'm right there with you, Raheem. I think we will have points in this game. Now, speaking of zero confidence, you don't seem to have any confidence in my wise wager for today. I'm taking a side. Not only am I taking a side, I am taking an underdog. Give me the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3 against the Atlanta Falcons. And I understand everything points against Dallas with the way things are going. They're missing some star players on defense. They're coming off a loss against the San Francisco 49ers. And nobody wants to get into bed with the Cowboys this week, except for me. You want to know why? Atlanta is the classic zig and zag team. They are a zig. Last week, they go and beat the Buccaneers. This is a week where you go and zag. They don't have a pass rush. This is a game where Dak Prescott is going to get off. They're the more desperate team. They need to go and save their season. We are taking the Cowboys. I like the plus 3. I don't even think I'm going to need the points. Cowboys, outright, they get it done against the Atlanta Falcons. And by the way, Joe House, I feel bad for you. New Orleans, team total, winner. There's no way in the world you go against the Carolina Panthers and not feel good about it, Joe House. So I feel you, buddy. Good play.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, next time I'm going to do my wisest wager at the top so I get double the time like Cousin Sal.
Oh, I was going to give you some of my
words.
time, House. Come on. JJ, though, back to you. Now I'm going to take more time. How do you like that? I like your pick. It's a do-or-die situation for the Cowboys. How are you going to replace Ezekiel Elliott's 14 yards that he puts up each and every week?
I think we'll be able to do that. I think we could get Raheem Palmer on the flight from Vegas, get him to Atlanta. I don't know how we're going to do that within the next hour and a half, but you know what? Crazier things have happened. And I think Raheem Palmer could go and get those 15 yards. Yeah. Now, Raheem, you up to the challenge?
I am not up for the challenge. And, speaking of running backs, I think Bijan Robinson is going to get off. The Cowboys are 32nd in rushing EPA for play on defense. So
that's bad.
You're going to have to tell me how the Cowboys are going to stop an opposing running back, let alone putting me in the game.
Raheem, you said this about the Cowboys, yet they were right there against San Francisco last week. Dak up to the challenge. Dak will have a big day. We're sprinkling Dakota Prescott props. We're on the Cowboys. Imaginable, every which way imaginable. Believe it. Cowboys outright. Okay, Sal, we need an SGP. You've had a good feel for these. You had a good sense for these. Give me one here for Sunday.
All right, now I have your team. Right? You screwed me by taking my team. I'm going to do the same for you. I'm taking the Dolphins, not as courageous as it sounds, but plus 10.5 points. I'm buying low on the Fins here. The Bills crushed them in that Thursday night game. It's the game after the return for Tua. I think we're going to see big numbers out of him. Wasn't bad last week, 28 for 38, 234, and a touchdown. I think Buffalo might be taking this team for granted because they beat them up, and they have a 4-game lead in the East. Miami plus 10.5, under adjusted 40. What are we doing? 49.5. Shakir under 4.5 receptions, and Tyreek Hill. That's the offense I'll root for. 40+ receiving yards. You get plus 441 for that.
So I can't roast the parlay because you have the number at 10.5, but I do need to remind everybody, as public as Miami and Buffalo may be, and we'll get to this a little bit later on, it's as public as it gets. Josh Allen has never lost to the Miami Dolphins in his home building. Little food for thought as you're putting together your Week 9 card. We go from an SGP to Sheil Kapadia, member of the NFL Ringer team, Philly special. Great dude, great blackjack player. He's got a guest pick for us.
What's up, wise guys? Sheil Kapadia here from the Ringer NFL show and the Ringers Philly special. Got a good one for you today. Justin Jefferson over 84.5 receiving yards. It seems like a square sucker bet, but here's why it's going to hit tonight in that Sunday night game. Number one, that Colts defense is terrible. Can you name any of their cornerbacks? Didn't think so. Number two, we got Kevin O'Connell with extra time to prepare for a Gus Bradley defense, the most vanilla defense in the entire NFL. You can be sure that he's going to have stuff schemed up for Justin Jefferson. Jefferson's going to have a monster game, go up over 100 yards. You're not even going to have to sweat this one. So that's my lock of the week. Listen, I've been on fire this year. If you need a little more help, not just one pick a week, give me a call. I can come on, help you guys out a little bit. All right, have a good show. Talk to you next week.
Look at Sheil flexing his record on the year. Talk about a little bit of a humble brag there from our guy. I like it. House, I think that's a winner, to be honest. Justin Jefferson, you always feel good about him going off, especially in these primetime spots. Don't feel great about that Indy secondary. I think you're going to have points for what it's worth in that Indy-Minnesota game. I would endorse the pick from our buddy Sheil.
Me too, and I especially like the idea of that second half that opens up. Minnesota's been awesome in first halves, but once they get into unscripted territory, that's where we're going to really see this Justin Jefferson thing cash in, because it's time for Sam Darnold to just do his bread and butter.
Okay, we go from a guest pick to our second SGP. Raheem, I think you picked a game that does fit that sort of SGP motif that I like. You're going with the Eagles-Jags game in the late 4 o'clock window. What are we thinking, sir?
Yeah, I'm all over the Eagles here. I like the Eagles money line. I like Jalen Hurts over 219.5 passing yards. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, and A.J. Brown 80+ receiving yards. That pays plus 435. You look at the Eagles. They're fifth in offensive EPA per play, and they're taking on this Jaguars team, which allows the second most passing yards per game, 271 passing yards per game. They cannot stop the pass at all. Dead last in drop back EPA per play. And if you look at with the Eagles, with A.J. Brown in the lineup, they're 4-0 straight up and 3-1 against the spread. And the Jaguars, they play a ton of man coverage. coverage. You're talking about 43% of the time. And A.J. Brown, you do not want to defend him with man coverage, so he should be able to eat. You look at Jalen Hurts. He has 7 touchdowns. That tush push is unstoppable. So that's my same game parlay. It should cash.
I like it, Raheem. You know, Sal, it's funny with the Eagles. It felt like about 3 weeks ago, everybody in Philadelphia was out on them. They were out on Sirianni. This team can't go and make any noise. Now they go and put together a couple of dominant victories, winning at Cincinnati. You were all over that last week. Smoking the New York Giants 2 weeks ago. That momentum that was there in the preseason for Philly, slowly but surely, Sal, starting to build once again.
Yeah, and it's surprising that the Eagles fans weren't patient on them. It's very, very out of character for them. But you're exactly right. This is not what I wanted as a Cowboys fan. They're running the ball, they're scoring, the tush push is working, and they're playing defense, and they're getting healthy. And speaking of getting healthy, shout out to our guy Raheem there, who's doing this from Vegas. He's been awake for exactly 19 and a half minutes, and he's finishing out his residency, and is quick, as sharp as ever with the stats. Good job by you, Raheem.
I'm trying to do it. That's what we do.
Listen, when you're in Vegas, there's a will, there's a way. So, Raheem, are you a big coffee guy? You're not even a coffee guy.
I'm not coffee. Just give me some water, and we good.
You guys are lunatics. Sal is the same way. Sal, you drink coffee, right?
I'll do it, yeah. For the London games, I have to drink coffee.
Not for the London. See, the thing is, when I come out to California, and I always try to get our guy a cup of coffee in the morning, Sal's like, I'm good, I already had. I like to be hospitable when I go and make my runs. You know what I mean?
You're nothing but the hostess with the mostest, JJ. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Well, I try. I try to be a good guest. I can't even say a host because, Sal is basically my chauffeur from beautiful, California to our studios and on we go.
Gas is cheap. I don't mind. It's fine.
No, especially in the state of California. Don't get me started on that. I'm glad I'm not paying anyway. Let's get made. It's time I sniff out a couple of rats. So I do want to mention that we had the rat line of the year on Thursday Night Football that came home to roost, and that was the New York Jets, favored at 2-6 against the 6-2 Houston Texans. Never a doubt. Gave it out on East Coast bias. Finally, the Jets, Jets didn't do me dirty. Well, I can't say this is the number one rat of the year, but guys, this is the number one rat for week number 9. The Buffalo Bills have owned the Miami Dolphins. They've owned them. They have not lost to the Miami Dolphins at home going all the way back to 2016. Josh Allen has never lost to the Miami Dolphins playing in his own stadium. Yet here we are, Sunday. Everybody betting the Bills, money line, teasers, parlays, you name it. They're giving you 6. This seems too low. I'm sorry. It seems a little too good to be true. I can't make a case for the Dolphin defense without Zach Sealer to go and shut down Josh Allen. Tua's numbers against the Buffalo Bills have been dreadful, especially in Orchard Park, New York. Yet this line is not 8.5. It's not 9.5. It's not 7.5. It's not teaser protected. The books are more than comfortable and confident to go and give you 6 in this particular game. I say that screams a buyer beware. Sal, what's your rat line of the week?
Well, I am going to go, you brought up the Jets, Texans, and that line opened at 1.5, and it swung the other way 1.5. And I think all these 1.5s are weird, right? Most of America before the game would have thought, why are the Jets, like you said, why are the Jets favored? And then they win, right? Same kind of thing here. Why are the Rams on the road against the 12th man? Seattle hungry for a win at home. They've lost 3 in a row. That's insane. You'd think they'd get the nod. JJ, I have a lot of loot now on the Rams, so I actually read into this rat line because I'm a professional. I'm able to do this, but I don't advise people at home doing this. I say you should just stay away from this. Rams, Seahawks, 1.5 is a rat line. Most of the 1.5s are.
I totally understand that, Sal. And yes, I can share with the audience that Sal is somewhat invested on this particular game on a certain someone's FanDuel account. I will say no more because there are certain things you can do in the state of New York that unfortunately you cannot do in the state of California. You notice a lot of shots at the state of California. I love you all. It's a beautiful place to live. It's fantastic. The weather's great, but no sports betting? Terrible. Gas prices too high? Terrible. Enough of my rants. Let's go to you, Joe House. You're going with a rat line that really does fit the description of I don't want to bet either side, and I know exactly what teams you're going with.
Yeah, it's the Titans and the Patriots. And the reason that this thing smells, looks, has all of the hairy fuzz and a long tail of a rat is because it opened at 3.5. Tennessee at home laying 3.5 against the Patriots. Well, that was based on the idea that Jacoby Brissett was going to be the quarterback for the Patriots. And then it was confirmed that Drake May cleared concussion protocol. And the line went all the way down to 3. What? Drake May's only worth half a point? This is crazy talk. The Patriots are healthy. They're the healthier team. Tennessee's the walking wounded. 8 guys on the injury report on Friday. Stay away from this game, I recommend, or maybe tiny bit on the New England money line, because the offense for New England under Drake May, the numbers will eventually catch up. It's pretty darn explosive occasionally.
Still can't get over the fact that New England last week won outright against the Jets. Jets. Can't make it up. Raheem, last but not least.
Yeah, we're going to go with the Packers Lions. That's the red line for me. The Packers are catching 2.5. And if you look at Green Bay at Lambeau Field, they have one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. And this line doesn't make any sense. The look-ahead line on this game before the season was Packers minus 1.5. If you look at what the Lions did against the Cowboys, the Lions were laying 3.5 on the road to the Cowboys. It's pretty clear from watching the Cowboys and the Packers this year, the Cowboys and the Packers aren't 1 point apart in terms of power rating. And, more importantly, obviously Jordan Love is coming back from an injury. So we don't know what we're going to get from him. So it's tough to back him there. And, one of the funny things about this game is that it is outdoors, and it's a 100% chance of precipitation. You're looking at 14 to 15 mile per hour winds in this game. And we all know this is Jared Goff's first outdoor game of the season, and he does not play well in inclement weather, so that's a big issue. But then if you look at the Packers, Josh Jacobs has an ankle injury, so how is he going to perform in bad weather? How is Jordan Love going to deal with a lack of mobility in bad weather? This is a complete stay away.
Interesting, Raheem. I have some thoughts, and a certain panelist on the show has some thoughts, maybe for a man's best bet, which we will get to a little bit later on in the show. Sal, do we think this line, Detroit being favored by 2.5, is a direct result of the Love injury? Because to me, I know Detroit's everybody's darling. I know they're the best team in the NFC. This Green Bay team is right there with them. Surprised a little bit that this number is what it is.
I'm not, because they are looking at the hottest offense right now and saying, well, we can't make it lower than what we have it right now until it folds. I mean, really, Goff is throwing like just a handful of incomplete passes. Not only there's their offense clicking, their special teams is all over the place. Their starting possession, it's like at the 39-yard line, 42-yard line, something like that. I think you have to make the Lions favored until they make us eat crow.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're at the halfway point, basically, of the 2024 season, which is hard to believe. We've said goodbye to Halloween. It is now the month of November. It's going to be dark on the East Coast at 4:30 in the afternoon. Don't get me started on that. But I thought it would be an appropriate time for us to bring it back full circle and bellyache about our worst beat, individually at least, of the 2024 first half of the NFL season. Raheem, the floor is yours. Which one bothers you the most?
It's still fresh on my mind. Last week, I had the Chicago Bears. We were catching 2.5, laying 2.5, whatever it was. We should have won that game because Jaden Daniels throws a Hail Mary from the 35-yard line. You got the defender over there celebrating and taunting the crowd before the game is even over. And then he's the one who tips it to the receiver so we could lose that game. I'm still angry. I'm owed some money. FanDuel, you gotta give me a bonus or something because that was crazy.
It was very, very cruel, except for one particular person on the show who is still smiling ear to ear. Speaking of conflict of interest, Joe House, that was the ultimate, you lose a wise wager, but you get a Washington win in the most dramatic of fashion imaginable. I mean, talking about even Steven, man, that's playing your cards right, dude.
When are you supposed to see your doctor? How many days are you engorged? Oh, you better go see I don't know, man. It's still in full salute because of that fantastic outcome for the Washington team. My favorite bet to lose by far, maybe in the last 10 years. I can't get any more of it.
I understand that. Now, there was a bet that you were very annoyed to lose, and it involved the game that I watched with the two other guys on this show when we were all watching after we did the show in person in Los Angeles, the Miami Dolphins house.
Your head coach, and credit to Mike Lombardi for giving him this thing. This jockey, the DJ Mikey McD, the Miami Dolphins in that week against the Indianapolis Colts, JJ, had a chance to steal a win in Indianapolis and keep their season afloat. They could have gotten to 500. They were 2-3 at the point. DJ Mikey McD says, "Hold my turntables." The defense that game was fantastic, and the win probability from Miami throughout most of the first 2.5 quarters was awesome. You know what? We're inside the 20-yard line. Let's give the ball at the highest leverage moment of this game to our fullback, poor Alec Ingold. The guy doesn't touch the ball. Nobody's heard of him. Nobody will hear of him again. He had 6 carries at that point in the game. He immediately fumbles, so now he has 8 carries and 2 fumbles. And Indianapolis goes down and scores, and that's it. I mean, of course, there was another quarterback injury, but what the hell's going on? Mikey McD, stay in Miami. They've got plenty of clubs there. Just put on the shades and be able to spin the tables, brother.
How's blaming the disc jockey or all of the fumbles or the fact that you had to watch Tim Boyle throw the worst 4th down throw maybe in the history of football? Sal, Bears, they fit your bet ache. Explain.
Absolutely. It didn't take too long, JJ, for me to suffer my bet ache of the first half. Week 1, Bears, I'm betting against them, betting against Caleb Williams, the rookie quarterback in his first game. Usually works out, except I didn't know he was going up against a middle school quarterback in Will Levis, who didn't throw the game away. He backhand flung the game away. It was awful. 148 yards of offense for the Bears. Titans up 17, and they couldn't get it done. That's my bet ache of the year. That's going to be tough to top.
Sal, Raheem, you guys will appreciate this one because even though this is a game that you could argue I didn't deserve to win or I didn't deserve to cover, it was right in front of me. I'm staring one of the best and one of the most accurate kickers in football and a cover right in the face. In comes Mr. Aubrey, MetLife Stadium, the Cowboys and the Giants on a Thursday night. Everything works according to script to get Brandon Aubrey to go and nail what should have been a cover and a beautiful start into a weekend for your boy. And I think we know, Sal, Raheem, what happened. I'm still sick. He's that good, and he's got to miss when I have him -5.5. Thanks, Brandon Aubrey. Good for nothing. I don't care how many kicks you make today. I will not forget. The North remembers. JJ remembers. Doesn't get worse than that, Raheem.
I remember because Mike McCarthy, he refused to call a timeout, and he rushed his kicker onto the field. So I was on that game as well. I'm still angry, and I'm mad that you brought that up into my memory because I forgot about it.
You
JJ,
can't
the
forget
hook
about
on that
one.
ball. The ball hooked like on the Zapruder film. They wouldn't be able to analyze the way.
You mean
You
Sal,
gotta
like
have
one of
a
my
short
drives
memory in
that
this
you see all the
business.
time on a Saturday
That's
near
right.
you? I mean, that looked like
That's
one of
right.
my drives. We got a lot more coming your way. Man's best bet, family meal, all that more. Ringer Sunday pregame coming right back.
We were talking about MVPs a week ago, and I thought Lamar was in the driver's seat, and then they blew that stupid game on Sunday, and I think that knocked him out. And yet I don't know who the MVP is, and FanDuel doesn't really seem to know either. Josh Allen's plus 270, Lamar's plus 310 with a harder schedule coming. Mahomes is 5-1, having probably the worst season of his career, even though the Chiefs are winning. Goff 6-1, Daniels is 9-1, CJ Stroud is 13-1. DeBundo made a really interesting case for Hurts at 20-1 because the next 6 defenses he's playing are all terrible, and he might be able to actually cook the next 6 weeks. And if the Eagles go on a little run, maybe. Brock Purdy's 22-1, goes on down the line. As you know, defensive players aren't allowed to win this award, but we don't really have somebody I would go, oh, that guy's probably going to win. Is there anybody you're looking at this point?
I mean, yeah. The one guy I think that I kind of just like circled there is Jaden Daniels, just because of all the narratives around him. It's like they feel like they're the team of destiny this year, almost. That wild, game-winning throw the other day, like just the way that they're playing, the way that they're executing on 3rd and 4th down, like at truly historic rates. Like it's probably not going to last, but right now, just narrative-wise and excitement-wise, and all that, he kind of was the one that stood out there. I think the obvious one.
Thanks for sucking up the house, by the way. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm so mad I don't have them to win the division. I stared at it all summer. And
you asked me.
I asked you.
A note. You know what I said?
You said I can't name more than 2 players on our defense.
Yeah, I mean, I could name them, and I would say they suck. I mean, I could have named them then.
Right.
I told you the defense isn't any good. You can't invest in the team in that preseason.
Welcome back to the Ringer Sunday pregame right here on FanDuel and YouTube TV. And I can't believe it's week 9 already. My goodness, the season is heating up, but prices are cooling down for NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up for only $209 for the rest of the season. Watch every game, every Sunday with game day features like multi-view and fantasy view included. Terms and embargoes apply. Welcome back. The boys are back. Cousin Sal, Joe House, Raheem Palmer. We're getting you ready for week 9 across the board in the NFL. You can leave a question or a comment for any of the wise guys. If you're watching here on YouTube, you want to get involved in the show, you want to get involved in the action, it's a good place to do so. This one comes from Daniel Tracy, guys. Here we go. The Patriots are plus 1,000 to score an anytime defensive touchdown. It's absolutely a long shot, but the Titans love giving the ball away. Raheem, plus 1,000, Patriot anytime touchdown. Can I get you to bite?
I don't think you can get me to bite with this Patriots defense. But if you're going to put in a lottery ticket against, the Tennessee Titans, this would be the one to do it. But I'm personally not doing it.
Well, and I get the logic because we are talking about a crummy Titan offense and a turnover-prone offense, and if they're backed up in their own end, something stupid could happen. House, rumor has it you have an anytime touchdown bet for us later on in the show. That involves the defense, but it is not the Patriots, correct?
It is not the Patriots, and it's really about the quarterback that's on the other side of things for that situation.
Gentlemen, it is time for the ridiculous, insane, 13-point tease from our pal, Mr. Simmons. Are you guys ready for this one? How does this one lose? Cowboys plus 16. Cowboys, Falcons over 39. Denver plus 22. Denver, Baltimore over 33.5. There you have it. They hit every week, Sal. What leg do you think is the most in jeopardy?
What am I going to, my leg probably from diabetes getting cut off is probably most in jeopardy. But no, I don't know. He wins every week, JJ, with these. And I want to make fun of him because it's 4 legs and it's all early games. Have you ever tried to make a parlay that wins early, let alone 4 teams? So I think maybe Denver only because the Ravens are due to lay the smackdown on somebody. But it looks good on its face.
It does look good on paper. Raheem, not that we know the exact specifics, but you're a numbers guy here. What are you laying on that? You got to be laying at least like 170, 180, right, to get that many points?
I think he's probably close to like even money.
Yeah, 4 teams.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have 4 teams in there, Sally?
Yeah, I think that's what it would be. 13 points, 4 teams is probably even. Yeah. He never clips how much he's putting on it, because we
like to keep our finances as private as we can, right, even when it involves a certain someone. We try to do that around here. Anyway, gentlemen, we go from the insane tease that you get each and every week from Bill Simmons. You never know when it's coming your way. YouTube comments, and again, if you want to get involved with the show, feel free. Go ahead. The floor is yours. But guys, still have a lead. It's shrinking. It's shrinking by the minute. Let's get barking. It's time for the Week 9 Underdog of the Week. It's man's best bet. Now, I'm starting with you, Joe House. You're starting to get your momentum. You're starting to feel your groove like you did a year ago when you were the king of the dog. And I will just say for the audience, Joe House's Underdog of the Week has a full-fledged stamp of approval from this guy. House, I love the pick. Please share with the audience what it might be.
Well, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers at home at Lambeau Field against the Detroit Lions. And Dream touched on this a little bit in his evaluation of how weird the line behaved in that game. We have confirmation that Jordan Love is indeed going to be the quarterback, and the line only moved half a point on that news, which is kind of weird. But this is really about the fact that Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, their first outdoor game of the season, and folks all across America will say, well, this is an overstated position that you're taking here, perhaps. Like, Goff knows how to play football outdoors. Well, all we're doing is simply observing the dramatic splits between his efficiency, his ability to get the ball down the field, and his small hands. Yeah, Jared Goff has small hands, and he doesn't like it when the ball is wet. Well, guess what? It's going to rain. It's raining at Lambeau right now. It's going to be raining all afternoon long. The temperatures are on the cool side, down around 50 degrees. The wind is at 15 miles an hour, going up to gusts of 30, and Detroit's been a truck offensively with play action. Good luck trying to get play action going. Now, on the other side of the football, I need Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay offense to be just good enough. But the great neutralizer here to me and makes this close is the fact of the weather. So I like Green Bay's opportunity here today.
Wow, House following the cue. Almost got cut off there, but he did his best Al Roker impression. Sal, maybe the next time we get House in studio, we get him behind one of those green screens. We have him do the detailed, up-to-the-minute weather report. I think it would fit him to a T.
He reminds me so much of Al Roker. I've said that for years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the parallels are just uncanny. What can I say? I'm with House on the Packers. You're going to like this, Sal. I like your dog of the week as well. And you're digging deep with this one. It's 30. It is a 30-30 dog. What would it be?
30 New York dog. I'm going with the Giants. Aren't there other? Why am I always taking the Giants as my dog? They're terrible. There have to be others I could latch onto. But the last time they played, JJ, in Washington, 21-18, they lost, despite not giving up a touchdown. Or they didn't have a field goal kicker was the problem. Guess what? It's a problem again this week. I think they play with a little pride here. This Washington team, sorry, House, I feel like they're going to level off a little. You might say they have momentum from the Hail Mary, but this isn't the same team that punted twice in 3 weeks, right? Jaden Daniels still protecting those ribs. Robinson in and out. We don't know if he's playing until like Friday, and he's going to be limited. New York finds a way without a kicker. By the way, 4-0, JJ, in those great throwback uniforms, those legacy uniforms. Make it 5-0. They win 21-19. Giants are my underdog pick.
This makes me feel even better about my Giants +4 bet that I made. Did not know the Giants were wearing those throwback retro uniforms that have been very good to them. House, you have any concern about this particular game and spot for your commies, or are you feeling confident?
Yeah. I hate this. It's a division game against the Giants. There's a long history between these two teams. They're knockdown, drag out. The only thing that gives me any comfort is the fact that it's a home game for the Giants, and Daniel Jones has been hot garbage at home. But I will get to this soon enough. These games at this point in the season, these are under games. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points, and so it does support the idea of the team that's getting points, both covering the spread and perhaps winning. I'm really rooting against it, though.
It's not a night game. Daniel Jones has a chance. In fact, start it now before it gets dark. I'm nervous.
It does get dark early. Something's got to give here. Either Daniel Jones winning the game at home or the commies actually finding a way to sweep the New York Giants, something that has not happened in quite a while. Raheem, you're going back to the well with a team that I feel like you have been on very often throughout the course of this year. Like when I think of certain teams and certain panelists on the show, I would link this team very much directly to Raheem Palmer. What's the dog of the week?
Yeah, I'm an honorary member of Chicago at this point in time. A lot of people are going to be screaming free Dirk. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, the last 4 weeks, I've pretty much bet them against the Rams, the Panthers, the Jaguars, and the Commanders. And after last week, a lot of people would say, oh, why do you want to bet the Bears? Well, if I look at my power ratings, I have the Bears as the 13th best team in the NFL, and I have the Cardinals as the 20th best team. So I think the Bears should actually be favored here. And, I want to pose a question to you guys. How many times in the last year do you think the Bears have given up more than 21 points?
3 times.
0.
It's actually been 2. It's been 1.
Close. We split the difference.
They gave up 21 to the Colts earlier this year. And before that, the last time they gave up 21 points or more was in Week 11 to the Lions last year. And we know how powerful that Lions offense is. So even with some of the injuries out there, this Bears defense is for real. I mean, they held Jayden Daniels and the Commanders to just about 12 points if you take away that Hail Mary. So I think this Bears defense is for real. It always keeps them in games. And if you look at the other side of the ball, the Cardinals defense is absolutely abysmal. And I mean downright abysmal. They are dead last in defensive success rate on dropbacks and 3rd worst in EPA per play. So we saw Caleb Williams, when he's playing bad defenses, the Rams, the Panthers, the Jaguars, he put up 24, 36, and 35. And I think the Washington Commanders are probably underrated on defense. So they were able to slow down Caleb Williams. I don't see that happening here against the Cardinals. I think the Bears are going to win this game outright by a touchdown or more.
Raheem rolling with the Chicago Bears. Now, I mentioned Raheem has a trend of taking the Bears very often on this particular show. This team is starting to fall into that window, into that lap for your boy. For the 2nd straight week, and I know we didn't have success with this. They covered the number. They didn't win the game outright. We're going to take the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football to go and win outright against the Minnesota Vikings. And I know we're talking about Minnesota with extra time to prepare. Brian Flores being able to blitz like crazy. The Colts now have a quarterback who's far more comfortable and confident handling a blitz, and his name is Joe Flacco. To me, the Colts are just a much better team with Flacco under center than they are with Anthony Richardson. I think they're healthier than they've been in a long, long time. Obviously, they have Jonathan Taylor back in the fold, and I'm still looking at these next couple of weeks as market corrections for a Minnesota team that played out of their minds over the first couple of weeks of the year. I wanted to take a shot. I'm going with a 2-1 underdog here. I'm not going to need those 5 or 5.5. Give me Indy outright to spoil a whole lot of teases and a whole lot of parlays that I bet involve the Minnesota Vikings in a Sunday night bailout special. Give me the Colts. Now, we go from our dog to the week. This guy loves dogs. This guy loves all creatures. He might be a creature himself, but he's our creature. He's Sal's guy, the great Harry Gagnon. I know he's fired up about the Cuse outright against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Harry, happy Halloween. What do you got for us, buddy?
What's up, wise guys? It's Harry here from Against All Odds, and I got a same-game parlay for you. Seattle against the Rams. Seahawks win the game, and they score over 23.5 points. Time for Seattle to wake up out of their slumber. They don't lose 4 in a row for the first time at home since 2008. Geno Smith rallies the troops. Seahawks win the game, and they score over 23.5 points against the Rams, who give up the 22nd most points in the league. You got it right there. Seahawks win the game, and over 23.5. See everybody.
Harry, thanks for being festive here on this Halloween. You know, Sal, I like the over because I do think you're going to have points in that Rams-Seattle game, but we hit on this earlier. You're not going to be endorsing our pal's pick.
Well, I have to say first, a big, fat, scary, smiley pumpkin, and the shirt was kind of cool too. But that is not an effect. I must say, that's not an effect. Harry actually has bats flying around his studio apartment in Scottsdale. But yeah, I agree, JJ. I think there's going to be points aplenty. I think that might be the game of the week, Seattle and the Rams. It'll be fun to watch.
It's not the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's the great Harry, cousin Sal. Like that, you're going to have to use that next year at Halloween. Okay, from a bad joke to Joe House, who loves an SGP. House, let's get rolling. I want a biggie. What do we got, baby?
Yeah, I'm in this Detroit-Green Bay game, and it's a very simple fade the golf aspect of this. I just, layered heavily into it. It pays plus 525, so better than 5-1 odds. Packers minus 1.5 on the alt spread, taking care of business at home in the bad weather. Under 49.5 alt total points. Golf under passing yards. Golf under 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's just a script that fits the play, and 4-legger 5-1. That's how we're doing it.
House, I was worried at first when you told me it was going to be Detroit and Green Bay for the SGP because I'm like, oh boy, bad weather. How are you getting involved with an SGP? But, House, if you're just going to go and fade Jared Goff and play a bunch of unders and correlate them, that to me is a winning way to go about this, right? Hey, when in doubt, bad weather, quarterback who doesn't handle the rain and sub-50-degree temperatures, Go and play unders, right?
Yeah, and part of the cap also includes the fact that the Packers defense has been opportunistic. Well, Jared Goff likes to turn the ball over in the bad weather as well. So look for some Goff interception props if you like. Goff to fumble, that stuff's out there.
It sure is. Okay, so we go from a game where House is playing a whole lot of unders with Detroit and Green Bay. I'm going to make you wait until Monday night to play my SGP. I know, you got to wait until Monday, but hey, gives you a little something to look forward to with Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers going into Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this game profiles as a pretty juicy SGP angle. So here's what we're going to do. The Chiefs are not losing to this depleted Buccaneers team. Buccaneers have too many injuries. Kansas City is not losing this game at home. I'm going to take them to win outright. We're not messing around there. Travis Kelce found pay dirt last week. Think all of a sudden now maybe Travis finds the end zone for the second straight week. Let's take Kelce. I don't care how square it may be. Hopefully Taylor's going to be there. I don't know. Eras tour wrapped up this weekend in the States. She's back in town, right? She'll be there. Well, let's get Kelce to go and score a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes has a new toy. His name is DeAndre Hopkins. They got to build that chemistry. They got to build that rapport. 3+ receptions, not asking too much against his secondary that, to me, leaves a lot to be desired. And then last but not least, Baker Mayfield. Game script is going to dictate he will be down and behind in this game. Let's take Baker to go and get 225+ passing yards. So Chiefs to win, Kelce to score, Hopkins 3+ receptions, and Mayfield 225 passing yards. A little under 5-1. That's our SGP for Monday Night Football. All right, guys, let's get in the kitchen, and let's, for the first time this year, come on, we got to get it together for the Week 9 family meal. And we got the beautiful graphic. We got a bunch of desserts coming your way. We need something sweet because right now the family meal, unfortunately, has been sour. Just not getting all 4 of the ingredients together. We've gotten individual ingredients right plenty of times, but we have to work collectively here. I'm going to start, guys. Josh Allen, 2+ passing touchdowns against the Miami Dolphins. You know the last time Josh Allen didn't throw 2+ passing touchdowns against the Dolphins? It was week 2 because the Dolphins got absolutely schmacked every which way. If you look at every other game that Josh Allen has played against the Miami Dolphins in his career, he's had at least 2+ passing touchdowns. I do not see that changing. I expect that to get back to script no matter what may happen with the number. 2+ passing touchdowns for the second best quarterback in the NFL. That's my contribution. A little key lime pie. It's sweet. It's easy. You bring it to Western New York, and it goes down easy. Raheem, what are you bringing to the family meal?
All right, so I left the gun in Philly, but I'm going to take the cannoli, and we're going to go with Bijan Robinson over 71.5 rushing yards. I really like this one. They're taking on my beloved Dallas Cowboys, who we know can't stop the run. They're dead last in EPA for play against the run, 31st in rushing success rate, and they allow the most rushing yards per game at 154.6. That's tied with the Carolina Panthers. Micah Parsons still isn't playing. DeMarcus Lawrence still isn't playing. Bijan Robinson should have a career day here against the Dallas Cowboys, so let's go over on that prop.
Listen, Raheem, very big on Bijan Robinson today, and does not feel great about my Cowboys play. Listen, Raheem, let Bijan go and feast, but as long as Dakota is able to go and do his thing and I get my cover and I get back to winning ways, everybody's feeling good after this one. Okay, Joe House, dessert. You're a man of dessert. You love dessert, so you got a good one for us.
There's one dessert I love more than the others. It's profiteroles, and it may or may not be because it starts with profit, which is what we're trying to do this week. But this dessert, it's an ice cream sandwich with puff pastry and then covered with chocolate. And it's the perfect time of year for that kind of dessert. It's the perfect time of year to start playing unders in divisional games. Divisional games played outdoors in November or December with a total at 44.5 or above. It goes under 60% of the time. This series, the under. 6-0-1 in the last 7 games in New York. The Giants are 22-3 under the total as home underdogs since 2020. This is an under all day long, fellas.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We mentioned Daniel Jones and his struggles at home this year. The Giants not being able to go and score a ton of points. And the Giant defense, especially being able to go and disrupt the quarterback I think kind of all fits exactly what our buddy Joe House is looking for. House, right now we are seeing a whole lot of eye to eye on a lot of these games. I like the under in that Commies game. I like the Packers outright. Your Saints play. I think I'm going to just take the Joe House card today and add it to everything that I've already bet on FanDuel. But be that as it may, because it's out. This is kind of quirky. We haven't seen a fourth quarter bet. I think at any point on any of the shows we have ever done in our 2+ years of working together, but you're feeling it on this particular Sunday. Why are you feeling this fourth quarter bet?
Probably be the last time we do it, too. But hats off to Joe House. I just looked it up. Profiterole is the only dessert out there that starts with the word profit, so he picked the right one. Good job by you. I'm going to go, this is a cheesecake with raspberries because it's a little cheesy of a pick, but also sweet at the end. Denver plus 2.5 in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. Listen, these meals have been bad. If it were up to us, everyone would starve. They're inedible. But I'm putting it together. I don't know. All I know of this game is Baltimore's going to lose the fourth quarter. They've allowed 57 fourth quarter points in the last 4 weeks, 14 per game. Even getting 2.5 is crazy. This is a quarter John Harbaugh doesn't care about. He's quit on it completely. And Bo Nix, by the way, a better second half quarterback. 2 touchdowns in the first half, 6 touchdowns in the third and fourth quarters this year. Unless Denver is up 10, which I don't think is going to be the case entering that fourth frame, we're going to go with Denver plus 2.5. Either way, I'm locked in before the game even starts. And you're getting plus points at minus 108.
See, Sal, I really like this one because if Baltimore is up big, you have the potential for extended garbage time and you go and cover the number. Or if we're talking about Denver trying to come back in the game and trying to backdoor it, you also are set up nicely. You nailed it. I think the only way this bet ends up being problematic is if you get Baltimore down in the fourth quarter. That, to me, is where I'm sitting there watching this game saying, I don't feel great about this one.
Right.
Reasonable?
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. And they could tie 7-7 in the fourth quarter, and I still win. I like that part of it.
Tell you this much, you're not getting 7-7 with those two. Well, at least with the Baltimore defense. Denver's defense is good, but they are going up in weight class against the Baltimore offense that, in theory, should be pretty ticked off after what happened against the Browns last week. All right, let's take a look at our family meal for Week 9. Oh, this is a juicy payout. We got Josh Allen, key lime pie from JJ, 2+ touchdown passes at minus 120. House going with the Commies Giants under 44.5. Sal going with that Bronco fourth quarter bet plus 2.5, and Raheem loves him some Bijan Robinson. That is going to pay a little under 12-1, fellas. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, let's take a look at who's in and who's out for the games here on week number 9. And you see Puka Nacua. That's a big deal for the Rams. He's going to be able to give it a go. You know what's a big deal for the Seattle Seahawks? Not having DK Metcalf. He will not be able to give it a go. I knew this going in, so no surprise here, but Micah Parsons out for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a big one. We'll get to this a little bit later on when we do anytime touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, JJ, in for Green Bay, and they're going to need him in this bad weather that we have coming up with the Lions and the Packers in one of the big games of the week. All right, guys, we got some YouTube comments coming your way. And remember, you can get in touch with the show and leave YouTube comments anytime you want if you were watching the Ringer Sunday pregame. Sal, this one from Tundi. My Bills-Bengals teaser is going to be heartbreaking. That is a very stinky, ratty teaser, is it not? Taking those two teams, those two favorites, and saying just go and win the game?
Absolutely.
Seems a little too good to be true.
And by the way, I think you teed it up early. You said the public is about to get annihilated. We see all these books coming back. Oh, this is a bad month, a bad few weeks. Guess what? It doesn't continue like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the first, like it was in the first 3 weeks where every favorite went down. You couldn't pick an eliminator. But I'm telling you, I like your Dolphins to pull it off. Your Dolphins are winning today, JJ. That's the bad leg.
Whoa!
Wow.
Winning outright? You
Yes.
want to? Do you know, Sal, the history of the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo?
I didn't study history. I barely went to
Clearly.
class. I'm fine. I'm good with it. Dolphins win.
All right, we got another YouTube comment. This one comes from AW. House teams after facing Detroit this season, 0-6 straight up, 0-6 against the spread the next week.
Yeah.
Food for thought for the Tennessee Titans?
Well, we did this in connection with the Minnesota game. It was very profitable on Thursday night, Minnesota on a short week going up against the Rams. And here we go, Tennessee. There are competing trends when a team goes out and gets their butt handed to them by a gigantic number, the way the Titans did. There tends to be some opportunity to cover, but I'm fine with taking New England. I honestly consider taking New England on the money line this week.
Wow. Stay away from me. By the way, we have another YouTube comment. Raheem, doesn't House look like he's about to host a game show? He's got the vibe. He's got the look on. Couldn't you see it? Maybe not in Vegas. Maybe get him out to L.A. and Sal's Land and get him on a set. Maybe the next Wheel of Fortune host. You never know.
Yeah, I could definitely see him on Wheel of Fortune. I could see him on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I mean, House is versatile. He can do anything.
Sal, you have some comfort level with game shows. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I do.
What do we think? Could House pull it off?
I was on that. House, what's your dream hosting gig for a game show? Let's hear it.
I'm doing it. Isn't this a game show?
Oh,
I'm here.
Oh,
I mean, what are we talking about? Come on.
I set him up. He answered correctly. Nice job.
What a cop-out answer. What a cop. I'd rather be on the show. I don't want to host it, Sal. I want to be on. Can you have some strings that you could pull in Hollywood?
I will.
Can you get me on Jeopardy and make an ass of myself for an hour? We need to make that happen.
I helped Rosie Perez get it. They made a movie about it and everything. So yeah, I can get you on as well.
You can work on that. All right, guys. We have a couple of minutes left. Anytime touchdown. These are always a ton of fun. Sal, you're going with a very nice and easy guy who, when in doubt, loves to find pay dirt, especially if he's inside the 5-yard line. What's our anytime touchdown for the week?
Yeah, why is this so low? Jalen Hurts minus 115, right? They have this push. I want you guys to watch out for this play. It's really, you got to look real close. They rarely use it. No, it's like they get their hands underneath his buttocks and in short yard situations, shove him forward, often results in a first down or touchdown. He has 5 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. 5. That's ridiculous. Jags have allowed 19 red zone touchdowns. That's second worst to the Panthers. 8 of them on the ground. It's almost a rat prop line if I ever saw one, but I like Hurts to score at minus 115.
Well, Raheem, you're going with the same game. Anytime touchdown. It's not Jalen Hurts, but it's who?
It's A.J. Brown plus 110. I think this should probably be almost even money when you look at the fact that the Jaguars, they cannot stop opposing receivers. They're giving up 271 passing yards a game. So I think A.J. Brown should be able to get off here. He dominates man coverage. So let's go with A.J. Brown. Anytime touchdown.
House, you hit on that defense that's going to score today. Who's scoring today?
It is the LA Chargers. I mean, we it's trick or treat with Jameis Winston. And God, do I love the Browns this week. If the Browns didn't have injuries on the defensive side, I would be all over them every which way. But Jameis, we saw the very best of him, including hitting the defense in the chest squarely 3 times last week against the Ravens. This is one where the Chargers actually hold on to the ball and take it the other way. Plus 700. We're just gonna have a little fun with my guy and his crabby fingers.
That's a good flyer. I like it, and I think it's a good zigzag spot. Everybody now buying into the Cleveland momentum after making the quarterback change. I think it's a little premature. I actually think the Chargers may be the right side in that particular game. A little bit more on that later on. My anytime touchdown from one JJ to another. Josh Jacobs, we mentioned he's going to play. He's going to get a lot of work inside the 5-yard line. Expect him to go and score against the Detroit Lions. We got another half hour coming your way on YouTube TV. Danny Heifetz is going to join us. We got Wise Wagers. We got a lot more to do. Boys are coming right back.
All right, San Francisco. So they're 4-4. They're claiming McCaffrey might be back soon. McCaffrey was on a foreign. I think he was in Germany. I think he went to Iceland. I think he went to Mexico. I think he went to Argentina. God only knows, just to get his Achilles fixed. I don't trust him at all. Jordan Mason lasted a couple weeks. He got hurt. Is it more realistic for you that they right the ship or that this is the year from hell, Danny? If I only gave you those two options, that in mid-December they'll be fine, and we're like, oh man, remember when we counted out the Niners? Or in mid-December we're going, why didn't we know this was going to happen? Everybody in the team's injured. Which scenario would you pick?
I would pick they'll right the ship probably. I think
why?
I just think they're still too talented on both sides of the ball. I know they've been hurt a bunch, but even with like the skeleton crew that they're running, they're still really good. They're still. I think I saw they're 6th in DVOA right now. Like
Yeah.
That's despite all the injuries. That's despite missing McCaffrey. I think Shanahan can still call a hell of an offense. And, Purdy's actually been playing better than I would have expected given all the injuries and given the fact that they're like basically putting it on his shoulders. I think last year they led the NFL in yards after the catch. It was basically like Purdy just give the ball to your guys and let them do the work. And this year he's doing like the heavy lifting for the offense. And so, he's not going to be like perfect by any means, but I've actually been more impressed with him this year than I was last year just because he just doesn't have as much help. And, I just think they still have they still have enough pieces to be the best team in this division pretty easily.
All right. So what he just laid out, House, are we going to feel stupid if McCaffrey comes back in week 11 and looks awesome? And we had this 1 week window to buy the Niners on a bye week at minus 110 to win the division?
We won't feel stupid because we'll just buy them. Like, why why not go ahead and do it? It's a cheap price. It's not going to get any better than this.
Final half hour Ringer Sunday pregame right here on YouTube TV. We are counting down 1 hour to go as far as week 9 in the NFL is concerned. The wise guys ready to rock spiffy on this particular Sunday morning. Cousin Sal, Raheem Palmer, Joe House, and John Jastremski. Let's take a look at what the wise wagers were for this week 9, where we had a team total, we had a couple of overs, and I had to go and say, you know what? Enough of that nonsense. I'm taking a side. I'm getting old school, and I'm taking a team that is near and dear to Sal and Raheem's heart. The Dallas Cowboys plus the 3. I like them outright, for that matter, against the Atlanta Falcons. And fellas, it's interesting. Sal and Raheem are our 2 Cowboys fans, and yet they are, I think, polar opposites when it comes to this particular pick from your boy. Raheem seems to be adamantly against it. Sal, it seems like you were very much in my corner. You like the Cowboys today.
I do. I just hate, all their news is amplified by 100x, right? So Ezekiel Elliott's gone. Whatever. He's not a factor anyway. We got to hear about it all week. Micah Parsons doesn't include Dak Prescott in his top 8 quarterbacks. We have to hear about that. He's not even playing Micah Parsons, but it is a do-or-die situation. I thought we'd beat all the South teams, NFC South teams, after the Saints, so this is a must-win. I don't mind it at all.
But, Raheem, you are not a fan of this pick. You're out.
No, I think this line should be Falcons -5. I think the gap between these 2 teams is bigger than what the market thinks it is. And I think you look at this Cowboys team. They gave up 27 straight points to the 49ers last week. And, you saw what the Saints offense did to them. This defense is abysmal. And we can't run the ball. And if you can't run the ball, everything falls on Dak Prescott. And not a lot of his wide receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb are getting separation. So he's forced to just force it in there. And I just think the Falcons are going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to be able to score. Dak is in a position to where he has to play perfect football. And if he does not play perfect football, he's not going to be in these games. And I expect the Falcons to be able to score. They're on the fast track. And a lot of people are going to look at that and say, well, the Cowboys are playing in the dome, so they should be able to get off. But I think the Falcons win this game by a bigger margin than what people think they will.
Now, House, you did $1 million picks with Billy Boy on Thursday. This game worked itself into the conversation for you. Where you stand on Cowboys-Falcons?
Yeah, so my concern with Dallas is, I like the idea of Dak being able to pick and choose because the Atlanta pass rush is non-existent, one of the worst pass rushes in football. But the problem is that they can score. See, I looked at the game script for the win that Dallas had on the road against Pittsburgh, and I'm like, hey, this could be the path. But the problem is the Steelers with Justin Fields couldn't move the ball at all. They couldn't take advantage of the bad Dallas run defense. Kirk Cousins is in his bag. I just think that Atlanta might get out there and put up 500 yards on this defense. And so me and the Podfather put together something where Dallas, was catching some points by margin, and we definitely had an overplay in this game based on those ideas.
Fair enough. Okay, since all of you did not go with the side for Wise Wager, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I know we didn't do this in our a rundown, but you guys are professional savants when it comes to this stuff. I know you have a ton of picks. I know you know the lines inside and out. So I know that you guys deep down have a favorite side. Sal, your favorite ATS side for week 9, that's not your wisest wager.
All right.
What is it?
Listen, I know you're going to think I'm doing this because you semi-jinxed my team, but I am taking the Dolphins. I love your team today.
No,
Plus
this is
5.5.
a joke.
I promise I like them a lot. I promise. This is a tourniquet game, JJ. You're going to stop the bleeding. I know this rivalry has been one-sided, but like I said earlier, the Bills are content sitting on that 4-game, 3.5-game lead, whatever it is, in the AFC East. And I like not that this is his first game back after concussion. This is the first and one, and I think the Dolphins put something together. You got the DJ coach. These all of a sudden on the hot seat. You're going to score about 23 to 27 points. It's going to be enough to cover this game.
Sal, that's bold. I'll give you credit for that. It's bold and you're fading the public. That, to me, is what's working in your favor. What's not working in your favor is the history for the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo over the last 30 years, and more specifically, since Josh Allen has become the quarterback. Raheem, I think I know what your favorite side is this week. I'm going to guess. Is it the Chicago Bears?
No, it's not.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm going to fade Jameis Winston. If you look at him as a favorite, he's 8-19-1 against the spread as a favorite since he was drafted in 2015. That's the 5th worst mark. And as an underdog, he's 27-23-3 against the spread. And, when he's a home favorite, that number drops to 5-14-1 as a home favorite. So you want to back Jameis Winston as a dog, but you don't want to back him as a favorite. And you saw how many interceptable passes he threw last week. I mean, he tried to throw interceptions at all of us. The Ravens just couldn't catch it. But I think the Chargers, they should be able to catch some of these interceptions. They don't beat themselves. That's what I like about this Chargers team under John Harbaugh. So I'm back the Chargers as a 1.5-point dog. I think they win this game.
I'm with you, Raheem. Now, you got to weigh it. They're a favorite, but I still think they're the right side in the game, and I think your analysis is spot on. The Chargers under Harbaugh are a different team. They're tougher. They maybe aren't as talented as they've been in years past, but they win these sort of games. They find ways in the fourth quarter because they're tough and they're well coached. That was my honorable mention for what it's worth this week. House, is your favorite side this week? I'm going to try and guess. I was wrong with Raheem. Let's see if I'm right with you. Is it the Packers?
It is not. I like the Packers, but I certainly can envision a script where Detroit gets out and is dominant with the run and just takes the ball out of Goff's hands and just runs. My favorite side, I got this close to saying the Saints, and I really wanted to play the Saints, but I took it down into a derivative kind of play, which was the Saints first half scoring 14 points because all that Carolina does is give up 21 points to its opponents in the first half every game this season except for one. But no, it's the LA Rams. I love the Rams this week. Sean McVay has made a point out of torturing Seattle, and the fact that it's Mike McDonald now, not Pete Carroll, changes this equation not a little bit for me. We saw this version of the Rams where they are healthy on offense, where they have all their guys. This is the team that damn near went into Detroit and won the playoff game last year. When those guys are all together like that, the Seattle side of this, Seattle's offensive line is the worst in the NFL. They can't get Kenneth Walker off. They have this beautiful Cadillac in the backfield, and they can't do anything. This line being only Rams laying 1.5, I absolutely adore it.
Well, listen, we're all on board. And I just got to stop trying to guess your wise wagers or your second honorable mentions because I whiffed with Raheem. I whiffed with House. I don't know. It's just not my strong suit.
Honestly, we throwing you curveballs because you threw them at us. So we got to throw them back.
You know what? What's fair is fair. And hopefully I hit the curveball a little bit better than Aaron Judge did throughout this postseason. I had to go there. All right, guys. We gave out anytime touchdowns earlier in the show. And you can remember that FanDuel has bettors covered this NFL Sunday with a host of profit boost tokens to choose from, including the great Double Your Winnings boost. Make sure you opt in on FanDuel so you can apply the different boosts to your favorite bets throughout the day. And FanDuel's Sunday profit boost, 30% anytime touchdown on Sunday games, 30% same-game parlay profit boost on Sunday Night Football with the Colts and the Minnesota Vikings. So let's hit 1 or 2 more YouTube comments before we say goodbye. I have to make sure I have these right. Here we go, guys. Cincinnati, this one comes from BG. 0-4 at home this year. Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Cincy to win. Sal, that seems a little too good to be true.
Well, I do have that over. That's my wisest wager, right? The over in that game. And I pointed out that Burrow is a lot better at home than he is on the road. So I don't mind that, but this is not the year, JJ, to bet quarterbacks 2 or more touchdown passes. It just isn't.
Well, guess what? I'm doing it for our family meal. At least there's a little history on my side with Josh Allen. There's something to consider. So that's going to do it for our YouTube comments. Sal, thanks for joining us. We're going to the bullpen.
That's it.
You threw 110. You like Cole the other night. You actually gave it your all, and you'll be able to go back on regular rest and get ready for Guess the Line. So
my contract is up. I'm turning in the 1-year deal with Cole, and that's it. I will be back. Yes, Guess the Lines is tonight, and you guys should listen. It's only like midnight on the East Coast, and Simmons gets mad when you guys aren't listening live. So I'll just throw that out at you.
Now, you guys are not in the same venue when you do that, right?
No, we're not. No, we're not even.
I was going to say, there's only so much time you're allowed to spend at the compound before you get booted. So,
Right.
I thought the allotment might have expired at this point,
Yeah, we've all been blindfolded and driven out to his compound and back. But, yeah, that's the most we're going to get.
All right, Sally. Enjoy the rest
See
of
you
your
guys.
football
Good
Sunday.
luck.
We got a lot more. Thank you, bud. We got a lot more coming your way. Danny Heifetz's going to join us in a minute. Football fans, the season is heating up, but the prices for NFL Sunday Ticket, they're cooling down. That's right. You can sign up for NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV bundle for only $209. Sign up and watch every game every Sunday for the rest of the season. Terms and embargoes apply. We say goodbye to Cousin Sal, and we welcome in Danny Heifetz. Heifetz, welcome in, buddy. We had Horlbeck on last week, and I have to be fair on this. I'm a man of honor, so when I roast you like I did last week, I got to say it to your face. I don't BS around here. I love your style. I think you have a wonderful shirt on. I didn't love the shirt you had on for your appearance in the LA studio. It was not, to me, on your game. I didn't love it.
I understand. I understand that. I mean, I guess I should have worn something. I liked how Sal was dressed to go and help Harry with the bat problem. So maybe I should have wore something more suitable for that. But I don't know. What was the exact problem?
Listen, I just wasn't feeling it. And this is coming from the guy who gets off the beaten.
This is the guy who's got the Syracuse sweatshirt on November 3rd.
Oh,
That's right. Looks good. This is fashionable. It's classic. It's white. I look like I could be the assistant, third assistant to the assistant coach. Yeah, try to say that 10 times.
You look
fast.
like Joel Embiid's going to shove you.
I don't know about that. That's a battle I am not going to win, Danny Heifetz. Trust me on that. I know that is not a battle I'm going to win. But I think you're looking spiffy. It's great to be with you. Week 9. A lot of rat lines, a lot of landmines, I think, with these lines for this particular Sunday. You got a wise wager right out of the gate, so fire away.
Yeah, no, I mean, my wise wager, dude, Jameis Winston to throw an interception is minus 198. I mean, Raheem, you were just talking about this. I think one day, Raheem's grandkids, he's going to be bouncing them on their lap, and they're going to be like, Granddad, why is this mansion we live in so big? And he's going to be like, it's funny you ask. Back in the day, every time Jameis Winston threw an interception, FanDuel would pay me money. And I think that's basically the opportunity we've got here. I can't think of anything wiser than Jameis Winston starting games. You can get paid money if Jameis Winston throws a pick.
I'm right there with you on this, Heifetz. And to me, that's kind of a nice correlation, Raheem. If you want to go and take the Chargers to win with a Jameis Winston interception, I think that correlation could come home to roost.
Yeah, that's definitely a positive correlation. I mean, if you were to put that in your statistic program, it'd probably come up 100%.
So I see where you're going with this, Heifetz. As far as this particular game is concerned, normally I don't like the idea of the Chargers being road favorites because history tells us it's not going to end well. I don't think they're particularly talented for what it's worth, but they're incredibly well coached. And I think that sort of toughness that Jim Harbaugh has kind of rubbed off on his football team kind of shows in a game like this. We like Winston to throw a pick. Do you advise the audience on taking the LA Chargers as a small favorite?
Yeah, I absolutely think you should take the Chargers. I think the Chargers are absolutely going to win this game. First of all, don't forget that the Browns barely beat the Ravens last week. Number one, what are we talking about if Kyle Hamilton just catches that ball and the Ravens lose? Or sorry, the Ravens win because Jameis throws an interception at the end of the game. Number two, do you think that John Harbaugh hasn't talked to Jim Harbaugh about this game and exactly what he wishes he could have done? Do you think they haven't talked this week? I think, if anything, the line doesn't reflect that this coach is the best possible scouting report you can imagine. I don't know. I look at this game and I think that it's amazing how much the outcome of all the Ravens dropped interceptions has not been reflected here. So I actually think I really like the Chargers in this game.
Okay, Heifetz. Now we have Joe House with us. We know he is Mr. Washington. You live in Washington, but you're not Mr. Washington. You're
House is Mr.
diehard
Washington.
New York Giant fan. You are Mr. Washington?
No, House is definitely Mr. Washington. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. House is as presidential as it gets. He's as lobbyist as it gets. Except he is a man of integrity, unlike many of our politicians. We know this. He is Mr. Integrity. We know this about Joe House. But this is where I think, in the spirit of what is coming up on Tuesday, we have a little debate here because Heifetz being the Giant guy, House being the Commanders fan, we've let House win on this game, Heifetz. Giants, historically speaking, have played Washington very well. Should have beat them in week 2 if they just had a kicker, for goodness sakes. On the flip side, the Giants have been horrific at home this year. Absolutely horrific. Full disclosure, Heifetz, I have bet the Giants +4. I think it's an ugly game. I think they keep it close. Where do you stand on this? Commanders, Giants. Commanders coming off their win of the year. Giants at 2-6, stinking up the joint. Yet the line is only 4. Who do you like?
I like Washington, but I don't hate any of your bets. I think a few weeks ago I was on the show, you guys all wanted Giants versus the Eagles. I thought you all were crazy. Frankly, the Giants-Washington play a ton of close games. I mean, I don't have to tell you, House. I mean, frankly, every Giants-Washington game in the last 3 seasons has been really weirdly close. Between the all field goals game earlier this year, they had a Dexter Lawrence blocked a field goal that got called off a couple years ago. Last year, there was the Terry McLaurin flag near the end of the end zone that undid a touchdown. These games are always close, so I don't hate the Giants +4. I don't hate I didn't love when Sal said the Giants are going to play with a lot of pride this week. I don't know. As long as Daniel Jones is going, I don't know how much pride there really is. But no, I don't mind any of the Giants bets. I don't love the Giants. As a Giants fan, kind of hate watching this team. But no, I think that it's totally fair to just take the points of the Giants-Washington matchup. I do think the Washington offense, even with the rib injury, Jaden Daniels has progressed so much in 2 months that versus week 2, I think the Washington offense and the Washington defense is a lot better. So I'm going to take Washington because I think that they have gotten better on really every side of the ball, including special teams, whereas the Giants are still kind of who they were, if not slightly worse on offense in week 2.
House, as far as season expectations, at the beginning of the year, I think you would have signed for just going over the win total. You mentioned the new ownership, the new coach, the quarterback playing well. But, the goalposts can move over the course of a year. It's halfway through the year. What now is what you're looking at? I want to change things. What are you going to be satisfied with from a Washington standpoint? Just making the postseason at this point?
Making the postseason would be amazing. But, Adam Schefter had a story out over this weekend talking about Washington as a destination for free agents. What are we talking about, fellas? It's absolutely incredible, but it makes perfect sense. The whole league can look at how much fun the team is having on both sides of the ball, and Washington is going to be definitely active in the trade market that's coming up this week. Hopefully, a little help in the secondary, maybe another receiver. We're through the roof with the expectations part. Now I just will humbly submit to the football gods. It would be wonderful to see Washington in the postseason, and I'll just leave it at that. That's fine for me, fellas.
Raheem, to win that division, it's certainly looking like a 2-horse race. Philadelphia is somebody that I bet on. I know House bet on it at the beginning of the year, basically got it at even money. Should I be feeling good about that bet, or you think there is a legitimate path for Washington to go and win the division?
I think there's a legitimate path for the Washington to win the division. I mean, these two teams still haven't played yet, so we don't know how these teams are going to approach each other. Now, I do think the Eagles are being a little bit undervalued. I mean, each and every week, it just feels like they're putting it together. And, with A.J. Brown in the lineup and everybody healthy, I mean, they've really only lost one game, if you ask me. I mean, obviously that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, everybody was hurt. But that game against the Falcons, they probably should have won. So this team is I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders. So we'll see what happens when those two teams play each other. But, I mean, right now the Eagles have to be favored. But the Washington Commanders are definitely live.
Hi, Fitz. Let's hit a bunch of games here in Week 9. Now, I know you're not going to like this. I just have a feeling. You're not going to like this play, and it's fine. That's okay. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm on the Cowboys +3. I don't trust Atlanta as a favorite. To me, they're the classic zigzag team, and I could just tell immediately by the look in your face that you think I'm a little certifiably insane for a variety of different reasons. But in this case, for taking the Cowboys against Atlanta, why do you like the Falcons on Sunday?
I would take your question and ask you a question. What do you think the Dallas Cowboys do well?
Not much, but I will say this. I think they will be able to throw the ball on an Atlanta team that I do not trust will be able to get to the quarterback consistently. That's my feeling.
That's super fair. And again, as you guys noted earlier, the Falcons have a terrible pass rush. They really have for 10 years. The whole Falcons blow leads thing is really the Falcons can't rush the passer thing. But man, I got to lean toward Raheem. I think Raheem said, I thought the best thing I heard this whole show was Raheem saying Bijan Robinson best game of his career. His career high in rushing, I believe, is 124 yards. I think that's an amazing call by Raheem. I do think Bijan Robinson sets a career high in rushing today because if you look at it, Dallas is the worst rushing defense in the entire NFL. And to your point about look, of course the Cowboys could win this game. I just look at the Cowboys as they don't do anything well. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. And they can't really, frankly, get CeeDee Lamb the ball in the first half. And so their best thing the Cowboys do, other than branding, is they kick. They're kicking, and they couldn't even get their kicker off jury duty. So I look at this team, and I'm like, why do I want to put money on this team? And the flip side is the Falcons. To your point, I think Jesse Bates, the safety for the Falcons, is maybe the most underrated defender in the entire NFL. I agree, but I think some of the lack of pass rush is offset by Dak doesn't run anymore. I'm a little biased because I'm a Giants fan, but I don't think I'm that biased because I'll give the Eagles their flowers that they're playing well, as you were just saying. But Dallas, man, not a lot's going right for this team. I have to lean toward if you're going to put money. I love all the alt overs on Bijan Robinson, as Raheem was saying.
Guys, listen, let Bijan go off. Just let the Cowboys go and cover my number, and everybody's happy. Let's just make that happen. Okay. There's this particular team in the AFC that's kind of played Heifetz above expectation. And I think it's fair to say you are not necessarily buying it, and we get ready for a game in Baltimore with the Broncos and the Ravens. Big number. You expecting a Baltimore bounce back? Where do we see that on this game?
I think the Ravens are going to just absolutely wash the Broncos. I mean, it's funny. You ever get like the double take where you like double take Broncos and Baltimore have the same record? They're both 5-3, and you're looking like that can't possibly be right.
Crazy,
but
that is crazy.
I think it's the biggest disparity between record and actual quality of these two teams. Frankly, I think, as Bill Simmons would say, the Broncos are the good bad team. And that they're the bad team that crushes all the other bad teams. That's what Denver is because they're well coached with Sean Payton, kind of. Really, Vance Joseph on defensive side is doing an incredible job. But if you look at the Broncos' wins this season, last week they beat the Panthers. As House was saying earlier, Panthers are like the worst team in years. And then 2 weeks ago, they beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football with 9 of the Saints' 11 starters were out on offense. Don't care about that win. Chargers, they lost. They beat the Raiders, who suck, in the first game without Devontae Adams. Don't care about that. They beat the Jets in a game. The Broncos beat the Jets in a game that frankly looks more and more unimpressive. They beat them 10-9 in the rain at MetLife, and also the Jets missed the game-winning field goal. Like, who cares? Frankly, the best Broncos win all season was 6 weeks ago. They beat the Bucs when they didn't have their best two defenders. The Broncos' defense is totally legit. The Broncos' offense, Bo Nix, none of it's good enough to keep up with Baltimore. I know that this is 9 points. I don't care. I'm willing to lay the points. I'm willing to do all this. I love Sal's bet of 2.5 points for the Broncos in the fourth quarter. I think that's really smart. But I think the Broncos are not – they're going to get, frankly, outclassed today.
Heifetz had a lot of pain this past week, and I think you know why. The New York Yankees being in the building for Game 3, Fat Joe being in the building for Game 5, quite possibly the worst inning of baseball I have ever seen defensively in a postseason game, still has me salty on this particular Sunday. You know what's going to have me even more salty? Seeing Josh Allen stick it to my football team like he seems to do again and again and again. And I know Cousin Sal made a compelling case. Hey, Public's all over Buffalo. This game seems like a rat. I understand that narrative. Public is pounding the Buffalo Bills. But Josh Allen has never lost to the Miami Dolphins in his building. I have no confidence that my team can go and stop Josh Allen. I think the pain level is only going to be intensified, Danny Heifetz, by the time I hit 4 o'clock this afternoon and Josh Allen beats my team again.
I mean, I got to go a step further than what you're saying with Josh Allen. I don't know if Sal knew this. In the last 13 games, the Bills are 12-1 against Miami. 12-1 in the last 13 games. House, I'm curious. Sal's gone. Sal's gone right now. We can all Sal, House, do you think Sal, when he said this is a tourniquet game for Miami, House, did you find that convincing? Tourniquet game?
Well, I think DJ Mikey McD puts a tourniquet, around his head. That's part of the costume when he gets out there. There's going to be an incredible trio when we get Eberflus, McCarthy, and McDaniel together. What's that DJ trio going to be called? The three dunces all together. Giving away, we covered them all with our bet eggs. I think that Sal might be in his bag a little bit. And by bag, I mean the trick-or-treat bag. He might have had his head down there a little tiny bit too deep, cut off a little oxygen to get in on the Dolphins. I'm making fun of Sal. I have no business doing so. He's 6-2 on the wisest wager. So the Dolphins are probably going to win outright for the first time in what feels like a decade.
Raheem, I know you love to fade the masses, and we get these information tidbits from you. I don't need the full detail.
Yeah.
I can just tell you, from a tease and a money line standpoint, FanDuel and all the books are rooting like crazy for the Dolphins today. Like crazy. That would scare me, Heifetz. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I think, the funny thing about this game is that the Bills, the look-ahead line was -3. We were all the way up to 6, and then got bet down to 5.5. And I think the thing that's scary about this game is that if you look at the Bills, their last 3 games or so, they had like a kind of a rough travel. And now you got to go back to the East Coast after playing Seattle. I mean, before that, they were in Baltimore, in Houston, at New York. At some point, this team has to come down to earth. So, I think the Dolphins are live. I actually agree with Sal.
Wow. Okay. Something's got to give here, Heifetz. It's a great movie. Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, Keanu Reeves. Love it. Paris, the whole vibe. Maybe I'll dress like Jack Nicholson for one of these shows. I don't think anybody needs that. But anyway, be that as it may, Raiders, Bengals. This is another rat. Cincinnati's 0-4 at home. You got to lay a touchdown. What's got to give?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is why I come here for the expert analysis. I just basically every line you guys identified, it's fishy. I'm like, yeah, I love it. Nothing to worry about here. But, yeah, I just look at – it's funny because I look at the Bengals, and their rushing defense outside of Dallas is the worst defense in the entire NFL at stopping the run. And they're like, all right, well, can the Raiders run the ball? Nope. Shout out to Austin Gale, who works here at The Ringer. Austin, who's a very sad Raiders fan. But if you look at expected points added, which is imperfect, but it's the best stat we have, frankly. It's the best stat we have is expected points added. If you rank every team and every season in the 21st century, which is 800 teams, the Raiders are dead last. They're 800th out of 800 in the 21st century at running the ball by EPA. And I don't have many rules, but when it's November and I know the weather doesn't get that cold out in Vegas in the Dome, they have an Eiffel Tower too in Vegas, just like Paris. But I cannot in good conscience ever bet the last team in running the ball in the 21st century. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm laying a lot of points. Yeah, it's a rat. I don't care. I'm not taking the Raiders.
No, I don't blame you. Listen, I'd be stunned if the Raiders won this game. Absolutely, positively stunned. Finally, Heifetz, game of the day, Lions, best team in the NFC, small favorite against Green Bay. Golf in bad weather, not in a dome. I like the Packers. House likes the Packers. Want to join us?
I picked the Lions. Dude, I was watching you guys do the rat lines, and I'm like, oh, I picked that other team. The whole rat line, all 4 of your rat lines. I think I went 4 for 4 and pick it. So this is a real test for me whether I'll be invited back. But I like the Lions, man. I think House, I know that you're on the Packers, and I think it makes sense. It's like outdoor weather, Jared Goff, cold, tiny baby hands. He does have tiny baby hands. That's not overrated. Mm-hmm. Do you think Goff on the road is a little overrated, frankly? Because the Lions are just so good right now. And here's my counter, House, is that while yes, it is real that frankly, it is real that the more turnovers are prone when baby hands Goff is out here having to handle it. It's going to rain, all that jazz. And the Packers, 20% of the Packers defensive drives have ended in a turnover, which is bananas. My flip side is that, if it's going to rain, I feel like the Lions know all this, and they're going to run the ball, and they're the number 1 rushing team in DVOA, and that's, why I look at this game, and I'm like, damn, that's why I like the Lions still to make the Super Bowl, is I look at this team as they can do everything, they can beat you every way, and I think that's my question is, does it scare you at all that they have they have 5 more touchdown drives than incompletions in the last 5 weeks, and I just look at it, and I'm like, I don't know, part of me thinks that they might just run it 45 times. Does that bother you at all, House?
Yes, it does. It's why, it wasn't my wisest wager. We take a little bit of a shot with the underdog and trying to find an underdog on a money line play. But for sure, the Lions could just run this football and run this football and run this football, and that would be the pathway. You would need Goff to fumble a snap, which is not out of the question. He could fumble or he could fumble on the turn on the handoff. Both those things could happen, but part of this it runs both ways. I'm also worried about the Detroit defense against a limited Love. If he really can't move, if he's really protecting the groin, then those explosives that Green Bay lives on and depends on might not be there. So I understand the risk paradigm here. I just prefer my mind's eye sees in November Green Bay at Lambeau taking care
That's
of business
right, House.
in a divisional
That's
game.
right.
That's
Yes, will it into existence, my man, because I have money on it. Please, will it into existence. Danny Heifetz, Ringer Fantasy Football. It is a great listen. You want to download the pod. It is killing it. And by the way, did you get vetted for the interview with the second gentleman? Did Secret Service make sure everything's all right? I would hope so.
Exactly. Yeah, we had Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, on the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. You can listen to that, and also on the Ringer NFL YouTube channel where this is on right now. And yeah, the Secret Service came. They vetted everything. They just checked all the wires, cables, everything. Before we looked at his fantasy football team, it was top secret.
Oh, boy. Wow. You don't want to be violating top secret rules. That's going to do it for this edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. Thank you, Danny Heifetz. For Raheem Palmer, Joe House, our buddy cousin Sal, JJ signing off. We'll see you at 11 a.m. Eastern. Same time, same place. Be good, everybody.